in Springfield. We tried to go there a couple of weeks ago, but it was lightning, and we didn't want to put the live truck in any
Not
danger.
a good idea.
So I guess we're safe today.
Raise a big metal pole in the thunderstorm.
Not a very good idea. Sharon Letson joins us there this morning, a candle maker. Good morning.
Good morning, Tom and Shannon.
How are you?
I'm fine this morning, thank you.
What do we call you? Candle maker? Candleologist?
Candle maker's fine.
Candle maker.
What are you doing? We saw you going into the break there, working on a beautiful piece. What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to make a container candle today because that's the easiest for beginners.
All right. Well, explain to us beginners what a container candle is.
A container candle can be made in various containers. We refill a lot of containers here, but if you have some around the home and you want to recycle them, there's a glass container like a jar. There's ceramic, which is also good. And then maybe you have something homemade or handmade, also ceramic. Those are the best two types of containers because they're fireproof.
Now, don't you call those Yankee candles in the glass?
Yankee
Candle. Am I
Candle.
making this up?
Yankee Candle is a company.
Oh,
we don't mention them around here, but we do refill some of their empty
Sharon.
glasses.
Really? Sorry. Okay, on with your demonstration. I'm very sorry.
For a candle made in a container, there's just a very few ingredients that you need, and most of them can be found right around the home. And first of all, you have to have your wax, and then a wick, which this is a metal core wick. It burns better in a container so it doesn't go out.
Okay, let's stop there.
Okay.
Okay, when you talk about wax, you can just buy chunks of wax, correct?
You can buy, we sell slabs of wax here in two different melting points, and that's important because the lower melting point, which is 125 degrees, is for containers. If you get the wrong kind, if you go to a hobby store and they don't know, sometimes what they're doing with the wax, you could get a harder wax and then it's not going to melt properly in the container.
So low boiling point.
125.
Melting point. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry, get on with it.
Okay, so then you have a tab like this in a wick. You measure about 1 inch higher than the jar or container, and then you insert the wick, needle nose pliers or something like that you can, even regular pliers will work. You squeeze it together, then you kind of straighten it out like that. Take your hot glue gun, which is a good way to do it, put a little glue on there. Most people have this for, flower arrangements. And then these barbecue sticks that you get are real helpful. Then you center your wick in the middle of the jar.
Okay.
Okay, that kind of hardens it there. Then you can take either a popsicle stick, we have these metal rods, and you wind your wick around it a couple times to secure it in place so that when the wax is in there, it won't move the wick and you have a wick right up the center. Because sometimes in these candle companies that are machine made, the wick is off center and it won't melt right. You're at this point, now you're ready to pour your wax in. We've melted our wax. You can use a double boiler for safety, but if you use a thermometer, candy thermometer, and keep it at about 160 degrees and watch your wax, never leave it, don't get on the phone talking to mom or anything like that, but melt your wax and then you're ready to pour. This has already been melted and it's ready to go. And then you just kind of slowly pour it in the jar, carefully. All right, now, what I've done too is this wax is going to take about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes before it'll start hardening and it shrinks away from the wick. And here's one where it's done that. You take a barbecue skewer or something again like a little rod and poke holes around the wick to let the air come out. And you'll see there's holes in there, so it means the wax didn't melt all the way down in there. At that point, then you're going to re-pour.
Fill in some more wax, yeah.
You pour, and you might have to do this a couple times.
Now, room temperature okay, or do you need to cool these in a fridge?
The glass, you mean?
Yeah, after you've poured the hot wax
No,
in
you
there.
can leave it at room temperature in the container. If you put it in the refrigerator, it'll show fracture lines around the sides, but that is another area. If you get into molded candles, some people like that exterior look, so, but that comes from the refrigerator. But you just leave this at room temperature, and this one will be ready again in about 20 minutes to poke and re-pour. So at that point, you just kind of wait, and when you're done, this one's pretty much done, you unroll this, and then you can clip your wick down to about 1/4 inch above the wax. And you should always keep it at that level when you're burning it, even the next time you burn it. It helps the candle burn better.
Well, that's pretty simple, actually.
So it is
it's not too
simple.
difficult. Classes in doing something like this so people can learn? I mean, that's pretty easy. I would think following your directions there, I could, you know, do a pouring one. But we're seeing some much fancier things on the desk there.
Yes,
Are you
those
using
are.
molds for that, or
Those
are
are
you
molds,
shaping?
and those are the next step up because they take a water bath, they take a lot of technical knowledge, and a lot of our candles went in the trash can when we first made them.
Hey,
before.
Sharon, thank you so much. We're out of time, unfortunately.
Okay,
A
you're
great
welcome.
lesson. Do you ever pour the hot wax over your hands and make the little gloves like
No,
this?
I've heard that, but you know, also warm wax is good for arthritis.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
I just liked it because it feels
health
neat.
hint.
Hey, Sharon Letson, Incense and Peppermints. Thanks. That was
Thank
fun.
you. You're welcome.
All right,
Bye-bye.
7:23 right now.
Yeah, I think I could possibly do that. It's great. Coming up next, you may take talking for granted, but many people in America have a disease that makes this simple act almost impossible. At 7:27, see what is being done to combat a very rare disease.
We are up to 73 degrees, and this is Cullington Newsbeat this morning.
You've got more good reasons to shop Jimmy Mitchell's in Aurora, Missouri. You'll save time and money at Missouri's #1 Ford Mercury dealer.
Any other soap. So at the end of the day, aren't you glad you used Dial?
At the Post Cereal Company, we're pretty much like everyone else. We're not health fanatics, but we do believe the healthier we eat, the better we'll feel. So more and more of us started having breakfast with some old friends, our Post Grape Nuts and our Nabisco shredded wheat. And while we're feeling pretty good, we've discovered something else. We're really enjoying the healthy crunch of grape nuts and the pure, simple taste of shredded wheat. Go figure.